Hello guys, welcome back. Now today, I'm going to be doing my April version of my 2019 NHL mock draft. Now with the playoffs starting for a lot of different prospects, the top 31 is starting to really heat up. So which prospects rise and drop, and which prospects make the top 31? Watch till the end to find out. Now, in the past, with my mock drafts, I did my top 15. For this April draft, I will be doing my top 31. We'll be expanding it a little bit since the draft is so close. Now, we're going to quickly go for number 31 through 16. And at number 31, I have Igor Afanasayev. He is a left winger in the USHL. At number 30, I have Raphael Lavoie. He is a right winger in the QMJHL. At number 29, I have Samuel Vagamo. He is a left winger in the SHL. At number 28, I have Brett Leeson, a center in the WHL. At number 27, I have Nicholas Robertson, a center in the OHL. At number 26, I have Connor McMichael, another center in the OHL as well. Now at number 25, I have Mikko Kakkonen, defenseman in the Liga. At number 24, I have Alex Newhook, center in the BCHL. At number 23, I have Thomas Harley, defenseman in the OHL. At number 22, I have Bobby Brink, a right winger in the USHL. At number 21, I have Ville Heinola, defenseman in the Liga. At number 20, I have Pavel Dorofiev, a left winger in the KHL. At number 19, I have Nils Hoglander, a left winger in the SHL. At number 18, I have Ryan Zucchi, a center in the OHL. At number 17, I have Cam York, defenseman in the USDP. And last but not least, I have Nathan Legare, a left or a right winger in the QMJHL. Now with 31 to 16 out of the way, we can now go into the top 15 of the NHL mock draft, just how I like it. And first off, starting at number 15, I have Moritz Seider. He is a defenseman in the DEL, or -1 from last month's rankings. He's a 17-year-old German player, which you don't see too often, but he is fantastic. Ended up winning the DEL Rookie of the Year this season in the DEL, and I've been super impressed from what I've seen so far. In the DEL, as a defenseman, he's put up 29 games this season, getting 2 goals, 4 assists for 6 points. And while that isn't too impressive, you gotta realize that this is a 17-year-old still playing at a pretty professional league. The DEL is not to be messed with. It's a pretty solid league that is pretty underrated in my opinion. But he's had a pretty solid season, Seider being one of the more, I think, younger players, younger 17-year-olds in this draft. And I've been impressed with him for how many points he's been putting up as a defenseman. I think he will be very solid and could be a potential gigantic steal for any team picking around that 13 to 16 spot. Now at number 14, I have Jacob Pellets here. He is a left winger in the QMJHL, up 1 spot from last month, and he is an 18-year-old Canadian having a brilliant season so far in the QMJHL. So far in the QMJHL, he's played 65 games, getting 39 goals, 50 assists for 89 points. He's played 1 game in the playoffs, getting 0 points, but he's had a brilliant season so far, a premier playmaker in this NHL draft, and from what I've seen from him, the guy is a freaking stud. I have Victor Soderstrom. He is a defenseman in the SHL, down 3 points from last month. Not because he's played bad necessarily, mostly because some other forwards have kind of skipped him a little bit. But still, in the SHL, he's played 44 games this season, getting 4 goals, 3 assists for 7 points. In the Super Elite League, he's played 14 games, getting 1 goal, 7 assists for 8 points. Those stats are pretty impressive for how young he is, but when it comes to Soderstrom, he's more of that two-way guy rather than him being the offensive defenseman. With Victor Soderstrom, he's never really going to blow you away with points. He's not an Erik Karlsson by any means, but the two-way ability that he possesses is likely the best in this draft. Defensively, he excels. Offensively, there is still work, but he has the bare-bone talent. And that is what is most impressive about him, is that he's able to do both almost flawlessly. Now, at number 12, I have Caufield. He is a right winger in the USDP, up 1 spot from last month, and man, he's had a month, hasn't he? He passed Phil Kessel for the most goals in USDP history. He's setting records right now, and rightfully so, because the guy is a pure goal scorer. Now, he's 18, an American, and those USDP stats just shine right now. In the USDP, he has played 54 games, getting 52 goals, 23 assists for 75 points. And obviously, playing with Jack Hughes, playing with Alex Turcotte, playing with Trevor Zegras, that definitely does help. But Cole Caufield is likely one of the best pure goal scorers in this draft. Maybe not the best shot per se, but one of the best high hockey IQ guys for getting around the net, knowing where to score goals, and that's what we've seen so far from him. Now, at number 11, I have Arthur Kaliyev. He is a left winger in the OHL, down 2 spots from last month. And in the OHL so far this season, he's played 67 games, getting 51 goals, 51 assists for a solid 102 points. In the playoffs, he played 4 games, ended up getting a goal and an assist for 2 points. But with Arthur Kaliyev, those stats certainly are impressive, but there is more to the story, and if it was just the stats, he would be a lot higher. Now, first things first for Kaliyev. He is a power play machine. A lot of those goals and a lot of those points are on the power play. He's kind of unproven when it comes to 5-on-5 play with the overall game. Yes, the power play for him has been absolutely dominant this season, but I want to see more of him on the 5-on-5. When it comes to his overall game, I think the defense for him is kind of underrated. I think people kind of trash it quite a bit. He's no defensive stud at all, but he is pretty solid. But again, I do feel like there is more room to be had on the 5-on-5 play with the power play, and in the OHL, it's a lot more easy to score on the power play than it is on 5-on-5, obviously. With Arthur Kaliev, he does that to a T. So to a team that maybe needs a power play specialist, Kaliev is certainly that. Now at number 10, I have Matthew Baldy. He is a left winger in the USDP, up one spot from last month's rankings. A 17-year-old American, he's had a pretty great season so far, especially offensively. Now in the USDP, he's played 54 games, getting 29 goals, 38 assists for 67 points. In the USHL, he's played for 28 games, getting 17 goals, 26 assists for 43 points. Some very, very solid numbers, and with Matthew Baldy, I feel like the points are a good factor to how he's playing, but I feel like Matthew Baldy also has another level of his play. When it comes to the potential, I think it's through the roof for him. I can see him becoming a very, very solid first-line forward in the future, and I think he will bring that, being a top 10 prospect. But when it comes to his USHL points, when it comes to his USDP points, I'm pretty impressed with him, and of course the play that he shows on the ice. Now moving on to number 9, and at number 9 I have Kirby Drouin. He is a center in the WHL, -1 from last month. He is an 18-year-old Canadian, and he's kind of switched back and forth from as high as number 3 all the way down to as low as number 9 in this month's mock draft. Now, he hasn't had terrible numbers by any means, but he's kind of been concerning in the way that, yes, his playoff stats have been good, but the regular season, there was kind of more to be expected. Now, in the WHL so far this season, he has played 62 games, getting 25 goals, 48 assists for 73 points. In the playoffs, he's gotten 4 games played and has gotten 5 points with the Saskatoon Blades. He's kind of stepped it up a little bit in the playoffs, and from what we've seen in the regular season, yes, his points have dipped, upped, and go all over the place, but he has improved in his overall game, and for a prospect that wants to grow his draft stock, I think that is pretty respectable. He's growing his overall game from what I've seen already. I like Kirby Drouin in his overall game as well, offensively, defensively. I think he brings a pretty complete package that some people right now might be underrating. Now at number 8, I have Wylie Podkolzin. He is a right winger in the MHL, +4 from last month's rankings. He's a 17-year-old Russian, and since last month and in the months prior, I pretty much had him outside of the top 10, not really understanding why he wasn't even putting up the points that he probably should have. But there's a lot more examples and a lot more explanations as to why he isn't putting up those points, so he has risen quite a bit. Now, when it comes to the stats on paper, in the MHL and the VHL, they aren't impressive whatsoever. In the World Junior team with Team Russia this season, he has played 7 games, getting 3 assists, which is not bad whatsoever. In the playoffs in the VHL, he's played 8 games, getting 2 goals, 1 assist for 3 points. In the MHL playoffs, he's played 3 games, getting 2 goals, 1 assist for 3 points as well. And he's played pretty solid in the playoffs. From what I've seen, he's also stepped up his game. But my problems with him was always the stats he was putting up. I loved his overall potential. I loved his skill, but I was kind of hesitant to put him high because of the stats that he wasn't really showing. But since we do have more of an explanation, him not getting enough ice time, him not getting any opportunity whatsoever, it kind of does show why he wasn't putting up those stats in the first place, so I will put him up quite a bit, mostly because of that fact, and I always loved his potential anyways. Now at number 7, I have Peyton Krebs. He is a left winger / center in the WHL, up 0 spots from last month, not moving whatsoever. He's an 18-year-old Canadian and has had a pretty great season in the WHL, even though his team is absolute garbage. 54 games, getting 19 goals, 49 assists for 68 points. And while those WHL stats are not groundbreaking by any means, there is a pretty big reason why he isn't putting up the points that a player like Dillon would right now. Now, in my personal opinion, while he probably is better than this player, he's this draft's version of Tidal Andrea, where he's on a absolutely horrendous team that gives him almost no help in his draft year, but he is still playing pretty well and is performing like the best player on the team. I think that's what's happening with Peyton Krebs. He was named the captain for the Kootenay Ice, who are now moving to Winnipeg. So that team is absolutely garbage. They had a terrible record. They had no support for him whatsoever, but he was still playing pretty good, and definitely kudos to that. Now moving on to number 6, and at number 6 I have Trevor Zegras. He's a center in the USDP, minus 1 spot from last month's rankings. He is an 18-year-old American and has had a fantastic season in the USDP, again showing why he's one of the top prospects in this NHL draft. In the USHL, he has played 27 games, getting 14 goals, 26 assists for 40 points. In the USDP, he has played 53 games, getting 25 goals, 51 assists for 76 points. And I love Trevor Zegras' overall game. The hockey IQ is there in spades. The passing ability is simply amazing. His shot is great as well. He uses physicality to make scoring chances. And I love Trevor Zegras' overall game. He has risen quite a bit in my rankings over the past year and has had a great season in the USDP, and rightfully so, because the player is absolutely fantastic. Now moving on to the number 5 position, and at number 5, I have Byram. He is a defenseman in the WHL, up 1 spot from last month's rankings, Canadian at age 17, and he has blown my mind over the last couple of months. He already had some amazing draft stock, but man, he has had a great last couple of months, and is showing why he's one of the best defensive prospects, if not the best defensive prospect in this NHL draft. Now in the WHL this season, he has played 67 games, getting 26 goals, 45 assists for 71 points. In the playoffs, he's also been fantastic, playing 6 games and getting 8 points. And I'm a big fan of him, especially his offensive skills. He's a very solid two-way guy, some great defensive abilities, but the offense is really what blows me away, really what puts the spotlight on him. And so far in the WHL, you really can't have too much of a grade or campaign, especially for a 17-year-old. Now moving on to number 4, and at number 4, I have Dillon Cousins. He is a center in the WHL, minus 1 spot from last month's rankings. He was number 3 for quite a while, but dropped just a little bit. He's an 18-year-old Canadian, and so far in the WHL, has had a pretty successful season. Now, in the WHL so far this season, he has played 68 games, getting 34 goals, 50 assists for 84 points. In the playoffs, he's played 5 games, getting 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points. Pretty solid campaign for him, but what makes him so special to me is how he uses his body to create scoring chances for himself and his teammates. He really does that to a T, and from what I've seen in the WHL this season, he's perfected that. And he also has a lot of skill as well, a solid shot, solid pass, but he's just an overall offensive dynamic guy that really will translate well, I think, to the NHL. Now heading to the top 3, and at number 3, I have Alex Turcotte. He is a center in the USDP, up 1 spot from last month's rankings. An 18-year-old American, having a studly season so far in the USDP and the USHL, showing why, to me, he's a top 3 prospect in this NHL draft. Now in the USHL, while he has a little bit of a smaller sample size, he has played amazing so far, playing 16 games, getting 12 goals, 22 assists for 34 points. In the USDP, he's played 30 games, getting 23 goals, 30 assists for 53 points. And with Alex Turcotte, he was injured to start out the season in the first couple of months, but he got his groove back instantly and is playing amazing. Those USHL numbers are amazing, freaking fantastic. Not a lot of players are able to replicate that, especially in their draft year, but he's been fantastic and offensively hasn't skipped a beat whatsoever. Now, heading into the top 2, and of course, the battle between Kako and Jack Hughes is at its finest right now. Both players are simply fantastic, and for the people that have watched these mock drafts throughout the year, you guys would know that I've had Jack Hughes number 1 for all of these mock drafts so far. And of course, it's hard to pick between the two, but with this mock draft, I have to. And at number 2 for my April mock draft, for the first time, I have Jack Hughes. He is a center in the USDP. I don't think you guys need any explanation as to who Jack Hughes is, what his numbers are, because they are simply fantastic, but this time around, I do have him going 2nd overall. Now, the accolades that he has are simply fantastic. Being a 2.0 point per game in the USHL, being over a 2.0 point per game in the USDP. He has had a brilliant season so far, and he likely should be the 1st overall pick. It's no fault to his own that he is 2nd overall right now, but the number 1 guy is who knocked him off right now. Jack Hughes having brilliant potential, brilliant overall ability, and I've already talked about him so much on this channel. You guys already know, most of you. Jack Hughes being an amazing prospect, American-born guy. He's going to be a stud in the future, but not quite number 1. Now, the number one prospect in the April 2019 NHL mock draft is Kakko. Finnish-born right winger in the Liga right now, up one spot from last month's rankings. He is an 18-year-old, and what came between Kakko and Jack Hughes, it's been a debate pretty much for the past year, but since the World Juniors, the debate has been as strong as ever. But for me personally, what put Kakko over the top, at least for right now, is the playoff performance. With TPS, he has played 4 games and has gotten 4 points in those games, getting 3 goals. And he, again, getting a point per game in the Liga, especially the playoffs, no less, is certainly impressive. In the Liga so far, he has played 45 games, getting 22 goals, 16 assists for 38 points. And those stats are simply amazing, breaking U18 records for Liga rookies. But he has been simply fantastic and has blown pretty much every expectation that he had away. And for that, I will put him number 1 right now. And for a lot of prospects, their seasons are winding down. Some prospects not even making the playoffs. In Kakko's case, his team was eliminated in the first round. So the debate between Jack Hughes and Kakko is still ongoing. There is still a lot more games to be played on Jack Hughes' part. So the debate is still ongoing. While Kakko has won this round, he might not have won the long-term game. But of course, with this video, I want to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments down below. So let me know, what do you think about my 2019 NHL mock draft? Do you agree with any of my selections? Do you disagree with any of my selections? Let me know. And also let me know what your picks would be. Maybe not in the top 31 because that would be a little bit ridiculous. But let me know your top 10 prospects. Let me know what prospects you are very high on. And of course, when it comes to this whole 2019 NHL draft, let me know your thoughts down below. But if you guys want some more Grav videos just like this one, you can click on this card right here to watch my video about Kakko and which team needs him the most. But that is what for today, guys. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Again, comment down below your thoughts on my mock draft and what your thoughts would be as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Goodbye.